It's 10:32 on a Monday morning, mid-November. Gee, only a month and a half left of 2020. Looking forward to 2021. Joined now by Jacob Kumpan of KLAW Industries in Binghamton. They repurpose glass, and we'll talk a bit about what they do and how their process might be helpful to communities that are dealing with the high expense of glass recycling. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
I am well. Thanks for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about KLAW Industries. You and a couple of other guys have gotten together, and you seem to have a pretty big idea that I believe might prove to be very helpful, not just to communities around here, but maybe a lot of communities around the nation, ultimately.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential here. So what KLAW Industries is we are a recycling and manufacturing company. So let's talk a little bit about some of the problems in the recycling industry. So when you place like a wine bottle or a liquor bottle into the recycling bin, it goes to a recycling facility and do the material separation process. However, at the end of the line, it falls into a pile called waste glass. And this waste glass is basically a bunch of broken bottles, paper bottles, and like paper caps. And it basically just looks like garbage. Now, all this glass and garbage is sent right to the landfill, never to be reused. So what we do is we take this waste glass from recycling facilities and we process it into a cement replacement in concrete. So what we turn it really into is like a baby powder, it looks like, and we put it into concrete. Now, the key is that our product actually reacts in concrete and makes it 11% stronger than other cement replacements that are used in the industry.
Now, tell me about developing the process. How did you get to this point where you've got a process that ultimately seems promising for the construction industry?
So I'm a mechanical engineer at Binghamton University, and I went to Shenango Forks High School, and I'm working with Jack Lamorelia, who's an electrical engineer at Clarkson, and he went to Binghamton High School. We're also working with Tanner Wallace, who's a mechanical engineer that also went to Johnson City. So the three of us have known each other from the area for a long time, and we knew we wanted to start a business together, but we didn't really know what we wanted to start a business in. We knew that there was a lot of problems in the recycling industry, though. So we reached out to local recycling facilities, and the owners and operators were nice enough to give us tours and kind of talk about some of the problems that they faced. And, at the end of the line, we always saw this bin that was just full of broken bottles and a bunch of garbage. And we always asked, what is this bin used for? Like, where does this go? And they said it just goes to the landfill. They can't do anything with it. It costs them money to get rid of it because nobody wants all this broken glass that's mixed with all this garbage. So we said, if we can do something with this glass, we can save the recycling industry money and repurpose this useful material, because glass doesn't decompose and it can be reused multiple times. So it's a real waste if it just ends up in the landfill. So then we built the process to get this glass out and turn it into a cement replacement in concrete.
So when did you actually form KLAW Industries? Was that a couple of years ago?
Yeah, so we've been doing this for about 2 years now. Is when we started KLAW Industries. And
I know you wound up getting recognition as part of the New York State Business Plan competition, and that must have made you and your colleagues pretty happy to see that sort of recognition by judges who were looking at business opportunities that might be viable in New York and beyond in the future.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really kept us going in this is there's a lot of support out there for clean energy businesses. And really what we're looking to do is we're looking to fund this company with non-dilutive fundings through these business plan competitions and a lot of grant opportunities that are out there from the state and the federal government.
Well, it seems like a lot of hard work. From what I've heard from some people, you and the two other guys have been very focused on the early stages of getting the company going and also trying to obtain the necessary funding to make this viable, to come up with a pilot facility where you could at least initially start low-scale work on repurposing glass.
Yeah, and, we've been very lucky, and we're very happy that the local companies in our area, the recycling companies and the concrete companies, have been helping us along with this innovation and really working with us and being supportive of what we're trying to do.
Earlier this month, we spoke with Cheryl Chapman from Endicott, and she seemed very enthusiastic on what she knows about your process and certainly addressing the need for glass recycling, glass repurposing in Endicott. And Cheryl Chapman, as well as the mayor of Endicott, Linda Jackson, seem to be among your biggest boosters so far.
Yeah, so kind of on the municipality side, so, the recycling facilities have to deal with this cost of getting rid of all this waste glass. That cost is passed to the municipalities. So wherever we settle our pilot plant, and we're looking at locations at Endicott and in Binghamton, we would say that municipality 20% on the recycling bill right out the gate. Now, it's about $8,000 a month for that municipality, and that savings gets passed back to the taxpayers. Now, we would then scale this to a full-scale facility, and at that point, we would be processing all of the glass in upstate New York, and that would create 16 jobs for the area, which would mainly be comprised of drivers, technicians, and engineers, and some administrators positions.
Well, in terms of where things stand now, obviously every community has this need. We saw, unfortunately, because of a massive fire at a recycling facility in Appalachian early this year. A lot of the existing recycling programs, especially those that the aspects that handled things like cardboard and plastic and things of that nature, they were dealt a big setback because that plant was destroyed by the fire. And I know Taylor is hoping to have the new facility up and running early next year, but it certainly caused local governments to take a very close look at their recycling costs this year, and certainly they don't like it at a time when they're dealing with expenses from the pandemic. They don't like also having to deal with the higher recycling costs that they've faced in the last several months.
Absolutely. And, this isn't a problem that's like local to our area, the Northeast. This is all across the country. We consume about 11 million tons of glass a year, and 7.5 million tons of that end up right in the landfill. So all of the municipalities across the country are facing this problem, and this problem is only going up. As we switch away from plastics, glass is a viable option, but it's increasing this problem right here, which is getting passed back to the municipalities.
Tell me about your current presence here in downtown Binghamton at the Kaufman Incubator, which is just a few blocks from where our station is on Court Street.
Yeah, so the Kaufman Incubator has been a major asset to us, and we've been extremely lucky and very happy that they've agreed to work with us on this. So our office is technically located at the Kaufman Incubator, but we're looking to open our manufacturing spot for our pilot plant at an industrial location. But the Kaufman Incubator has enabled us to basically continue working on this in a professional setting and, meet with people and have, it's not just a basement project anymore. It's an actual company now.
The way things stand right now, if you were looking ahead to next year, at what point do you think it would be realistic to have a pilot facility up and running somewhere in Broome County, whether it's in Endicott or Binghamton?
So for our pilot plant, so far we've raised about $107,000 in non-dilutive funding. And like I said, we're working to raise the rest of the money with state and federal grants. Now, for an actual timeline for the pilot plant, we would like to start putting machines together in May. And then basically by the end of the year, we would like to have a production or a pilot plant production line running where we would be processing at a normal rate.
Is there state or federal funding, additional state or federal funding available to help establish the pilot facility based on the research that you and your colleagues have done?
Yes, so we're working with Empire State Development and NYSERDA. Those are two state organizations that have a lot of grant opportunities for clean energy companies, and we're also looking at some federal opportunities as well, which are known as SBIR grants.
Now, you mentioned a pilot facility could be located at an industrial site. Whenever people hear about new industry of any type, they always want to know about the potential environmental impacts. Would there be anything part of the process that would give off anything? And the other thing that occurs to me, too, since you're dealing with glass, what about the noise? Would there be noise issues in the area immediately around such a facility?
Yeah, so in terms of how everything works, we have no toxic materials in our process at all. And our process is also completely enclosed. So there's no dust given off from us taking this glass down to this powder-like state or cleaning it. Now, in terms of noise, we would make noise equivalent to any manufacturing company. So we would just need to be in a zoned industrial space. It wouldn't be anything that's out of the ordinary, though, for any processing company.
Anything else we should know about the work that you and the two other young men from Broome County have done so far, or about this vision for the future?
Well, the raw material that we're using to process for our pilot plant and eventually doing it full scale, this is already going to the landfill. And this problem isn't going away, and the cost is going to continue to increase, and the taxpayers are going to see that. So we're trying to come in as the economic solution for recycling facilities and concrete companies in our area to save taxpayers money. So that's really what we're doing.
And are you dealing directly yet with, say, officials from Broome and Tioga counties, the solid waste officials who definitely would see an incentive to at least conserve landfill space and not see so much glass just being buried?
Yeah, we've reached out to the Delaware County landfill. They've also been extremely supportive of what we're doing and given us samples of their waste glass to use as well. So we've seen support from all over the state to basically have a waste glass solution.
Jacob Kumpan from KLAW Industries in Binghamton, I appreciate your time this morning, and we'll be keeping in touch with you and your colleagues going forward as things develop over the next several months.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Yes, you too.
It's 1044, News Radio 1290, WNBF.